Hey, what's up, guys? I was asked to do a video which was the safest steroid to do, and I recommended not just a safe steroid, but a safest cycle to do, which is 250 test, 200 primo, and 2 IUs of HGH. Okay, very safe and very effective, but not just safe, effective, right? Because sure you could go safer, but then it wouldn't be effective, and then what's the point of doing it in the first place? Correct. And I got some responses. First of all, the guy who who asked for it, he was inquiring about Anavar, and I recommended that you only add Anavar after like at least 6 weeks into starting a cycle. I would even wait if it's your first one. I would even wait a little bit more, at least the 6 weeks at the end of the cycle. Okay, this is something that's pretty common knowledge in bodybuilding, and the reason why I recommend that is because, first of all, when you start taking testosterone, to get the blood serum levels of testosterone, that's actually when it starts doing something, takes a few weeks. Okay, and then once you get those blood serum levels up, then it takes a little while for your muscles, granted you're working out and things, for it to start taking strong effect, where you start noticing gains from taking testosterone. So we're looking at around 3 to 5 weeks, okay, before you start knowing these gains. Obviously, that can happen a little bit beforehand, but it's around that time then you start adding the Anavar. Okay, and with Primabone, it's the same thing, if not longer than testosterone. The half-life and whatnot that has to do with Primabone takes a little bit longer. It's like it's less than EQ or DECA, but it's longer than Mastron and NPP. Okay, so it's around the same time as testosterone. So again, it's going to be 3 to 5 weeks where you'll start noticing the primo. It's slow burning. It takes a while for it to kick in, but once it does, it's like a nice slow, steady curve up the gains. Right? It's not just like bing, like I don't know, taking like D-ball or something like that. Okay, it's not like that. So therefore, once you're like 5 weeks into it, then you add the Anavar, and Anavar is very much a bing. Okay, it's a 6 week cycle thing you do. It's like adding nitrous. So it's like you're in third or fourth gear, and then you add nitrous, and then you go up to like 300 miles per hour. Best analogy I can think of. It's adding that to the whole situation. Now, Anavar is very safe. I consider it a very safe compound, but only if you run it within that 6 weeks. You start running it more than that, you're potentially going to the toxicity levels are going to get too high for your body to process over that period of time. So you got to run it for 6 weeks, and so therefore, a normal cycle is like 3 months. So 6 weeks is half of 3 months. So you want to run that Anavar at the end of half of the cycle, at least. Now, Primabone, the cycle can even go up to 16 weeks, 20 weeks even, at a low dose. So people are saying they can run Primo indefinitely even at low dose. I wouldn't do that because there is studies that show that it can be liver toxic over a period of time. I just wouldn't do that. So at a 250 test, 200 Primo, adding at least 20 Anavar, that I would consider that a very safe cycle where no matter what your age, if you're 40, 50, 60 years old, you're going to see gains, okay? Now, granted, it's not like you're in a bodybuilding cycle gains, okay? But this is the lowest threshold I would do if you're really considering anabolics. Like, I would not go lower than that. Because what's the point? Are you just going to do 250 tests? That's a TRT cycle. I guess if you just want to do TRT, that's fine. But it's like my channel and everything that I'm about here is about TRT plus HRT, proper steroid cycle, but one that is not like overkill. Because once you get above that, you're going to have some issues, which I found out pretty quickly with dealing with high blood pressure. Then you got to mitigate that. Then you got to set something else. And then there's another issues. And now you have to deal with estrogenic effects and whatever. Now, Primabone is going to deal with the estrogenic effects pretty fine. Granted, you got good Primo. Now, I'm going to now recommend the second safest, which I'm actually doing now, and I consider it pretty damn safe. But it's one where you want to take it even a step up from just a 250 test, 200 primo. It'd be a 250 test, 200 Masteron, and 150 Nandrolone, whether Deca or NPP. I chose the NPP. Now, the Masteron I'm taking is the propionate, and I'm taking the NPP, which is the Nandrolone propionate, I believe, which are both very short esters. So instead of the Primobolan, which is a very much longer ester, it took like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. These ones take less than 2 weeks. So if you want something a little bit more quicker acting and pronounced. Now, Nandrolone, the strength and size you get from that is pronounced, even at low doses. You can, with on top of the testosterone, on top of the Masteron, is significant, and it is safe. Both Masteron and Nandrolone, I will vouch as being safe. Okay, I would not necessarily add Anavar to this cycle, though. I would add Anavar to the test and primo, but I don't think it's needed in this Nandrolone cycle. Masteron is a very drying anabolic compound, and the Nandrolone is known for being kind of wet, it can bloat you up, but at the dosages that I'm suggesting, it won't. But what it will do is add strength, and it will add good recovery and good size, like a 3D effect to your muscles, which is, I believe, superior to the Primobolan cycle. So I'm just adding another. Like, to be honest, this is kind of what I'm debating, which one is better for me. Like, next cycle, I might do Primobolan again. I very much loved it. Very great. But the one I'm on now, this Masteron and NPP, is also very beautiful. Now, somebody who's just getting started, getting their feet wet, they might not want to run multiple compounds just off the bat. I understand that. And they might get thrown off the fact of running like an NPP and Masteron on top of a testosterone, just injecting themselves with that. I wouldn't suggest that anyway. Like, I would suggest starting with testosterone, 250, and then adding maybe a Masteron or Primobolan, and then adding something else every few weeks. Get your feet wet, get used to it, because your body, you're getting used to foreign substances that it's not used to. You know, I actually got sick when I first started. For the first week, I was going to the gym, and I could barely even lift weights. I'm like, what the hell am I even doing this shit? Like, it doesn't even, like, I'm not even feeling good. Like, it makes me feel like shit, and I can't do shit. What am I doing? But then, you just stuck with it, and it'll be fine. But, so, I don't know. Like, my whole advice here is just to new guys who are going to do it anyway, right? My advice isn't here being, like, trying to promote, you should be doing this. Listen to me, you should be doing anabolics or whatever. That's for you to decide. My recommendation, if you're like over 35 years old, especially over 40, and you're very good working at the gym, you got every point in your life in check health-wise, right? Like I do. Gym, food, everything's good, and you're starting to just not seeing the gains that you should be making. Adding this can take the gains up a significant notch to where you're in very much healthy levels, where you're aesthetically good, functionally good, like especially if you're doing a sport like me, boxing right now. At 4 years old, I'm in the gym fucking going hard boxing. How amazing is that, right? Just the stamina and the fucking drive and everything else. And not just that, with my girl, like, I'm telling you, the sex drive and everything is off the hook. It's something that for men's health, that's why I'm here trying to promote men's health and doing men's health the right way. I'm not here trying to promote some crazy bodybuilding fucking stack or anything else. But the last thing I'll say is that if you decide to go a little bit higher on the anabolics, you say you titrate the dose up, you're going to run into blood pressure issues, and running something like either a straight up blood pressure medication like telmisartan, which I haven't done, you might need to do, or running something like Cialis, which I am doing now, does seem to be helping, and there is great pre-workout effects with that, and great effects with pump and like vascularity. When I'm looking at myself in the mirror when I'm working out, like I got veins popping out of my biceps. Never seen that shit before in my life. So, anyway, kind of just ranting on, but this is what I like. I like feedback from you guys, and then you just feed off that feedback and just add my own 2 cents on everything. I don't claim to be the most knowledgeable person in the world when it comes to all this stuff, but I do know something. I do have experience, and I want to share that experience with you because I wish I had that when I started, like straight experience. I had to discern through all this bullshit about guys who are bodybuilders and all these different cycles and stacks and forms and everything. Like, it was just like too much. So I just want to condense that all into one that makes sense for somebody who's 40 years old and wants to run something that's going to make good gains, right? The 250 test, 200 primo, and 2 IUs of growth hormone, and then maybe adding 20 milligrams of Anavar a day, 6 or 8 weeks into that cycle. Don't neglect the growth hormone, though. Growth hormone is amazing. Best part of my stack, I would say. Thank you for watching, guys. Leave in the comments any other questions you would like me to address. And I appreciate everybody's comments and questions. Thank you for watching. Peace.